Wow, what a crazy day. Look at that. Amazon essentially represent the tech stock and the QQQ. If you look at the intraday, the pre-market, it went all the way up to 31, almost 31.40, which essentially is up here. Yeah, close enough. So it actually on this guy right here, it essentially pretty much close enough touched the 20-day moving average. So if you look at that, you can say, well, it's kind of, it's, I mean, even if it didn't touch the 20-day moving average on in the pre-market, it's still a good enough indicator that when it started to fail, bad things were gonna happen. And the only problem I had today was that there was no bounce. So no bounce today, which is kind of strange. I've never seen it like that before, where I mean, it's just really crazy. So look at that. I mean, all the way up here, strength in the pre-market. Initial, I mean, initial sell-off right away, and that was almost to be expected because Tesla was gonna, they were just gonna sell off the news. The thing that got to me was that it just did not bounce. It wasn't like a sell off, like a typical sell off where you normally get on a typical sell off. Let me change it to a red pen. On a typical sell off, you get your initial strength initial sell off here. Then you get some false support. Then this guy would have just came down really fast here, and then you get some more initial, some more fake, and then you get that, and then a flush, and then on the flush, then you can expect the bounce. So when that didn't happen, I should have known that there wasn't gonna be a bounce today. But I've just never seen this situation before where this is like an hour and 30 minutes, and this is another hour and 30 minutes, and this is like 30 minutes. And it's just a technical sell-off without any bounce. I mean, I was just expecting a bounce at any one of these guys, especially this one. I was just expecting a bounce because there wasn't a flush. And what got to me was that there wasn't a flush, and then it just I was like, well, okay, so they wasn't gonna flush it, but there still should be a bounce, and no bounce whatsoever, none whatsoever. So got burned pretty bad, over 10,000 in loss. Yeah, don't even want to look at it right now. Just really bad. These type of days happen, I guess, when you just expecting it. I mean, it's just kind of look at the way Amazon was so strong yesterday. And because it was so strong yesterday, there was an upgrade, price target of 3,400. You got the Peloton bike that Amazon was competing with. I mean, who would have expected to went all the way back to 2,900? It's still higher than it was yesterday, and but technically it looks bad technically now because it's below the 5-day moving average. And tomorrow could be a crash. I mean, to be honest, this could crash tomorrow, or it could have a. I mean, at this point, you really can't read anything. Um, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. There could be a huge gap down tomorrow, and at which point you may get initial buying, and any initial strength most likely is gonna get what you typically seen a sell off, fake support, sell off, fake support, then a flush, and then a rebound. The classic signature of what it should have been today. Um, but if this happens yesterday, then it can also happen tomorrow. I mean, anything can happen. The other scenario is, of course, you have a gap up because right now it's sitting. There's gonna be people who would want to front run it and maybe try to rescue it above the 5-day moving average. Um, yeah, I mean the weekly, it's still green on the weekly, so I would say they might want to rescue, and it's sitting at close to 3,000, so it may be a bounce, but I don't think it'd be a huge gap up. And any gap up may may have initial sell off, may have some strength, and then a sell off, or it can do essentially it can do anything tomorrow. So there's no point in even trying to predict what's gonna happen because right now it's just in a state where it's unpredictable. You can have a bounce or you can have a crash. So you can have a crash tomorrow, or you can have a bounce and some additional sell off, or you can have a bounce, small sell off, and then just continue strength. Because there's so many shorts here, so many shorts here, so many shorts that anyone can, with the funds and the means, if they want to rescue the market, these shorts they will have to buy. So that's the only reason why it would bounce tomorrow is short covering, and the fact that it's still sitting at 3,000. It's still above the gap. But other than that, I don't see why it would bounce. Tesla is the more or less the reason why the QQQ is bad today, along with the financials. I mean, the financial was just really, really, yeah, selling off for whatever reason, and this eventually broke the market. This and the fact, Tesla, I guess, those two, Tesla pretty much now. Um, I can't imagine Tesla being a golden child going forward because at this point it's just too much damage. I mean, at this point now, where Battery Tuesday was a big disappointment to investor, I would say the only logical conclusion would be to assume here's the huge oscillation. So you're just gonna have big oscillation going down. I mean, that's just the only way. That's just the only way, and you can't even really draw a band. I mean, there's no point in drawing a band. You just gotta know that Tesla probably, I mean, it probably won't get all the way down there, but you just gotta know that at this point, it may, whatever the oscillation is, it's gonna be some big swings. So big swings on Tesla. No point in chasing it here, even though it looks like it's going to go down to the 50. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to play a lot more careful. I mean, yeah, this just looks like a magnet, and everybody wants to get there. Wants to Pretty much everybody expected to get to the 50 at this point. Um, and sitting above here. So where's the 50 at? Right at 360. So right here. So yeah, I mean it may end up there. It probably, or I mean it's sitting right here too. So, but that doesn't mean anything. It probably gonna end at 360. I don't see why it wouldn't. Um, at this point, it looks pretty negative for Tesla. Apple is also the weekly wise. Yeah, it's hard to read Apple. I mean, still got a green on the weekly, but that can end really quick. I mean, they can invalidate this and make it into a red, so it can go down here fairly quickly to the 100. And to be honest, that looks like the most likely target is to go down to the 100, which would be right here. Yeah, right as this turnover. So Amazon, let me look at Amazon again. Yeah, so Amazon, this thing was flattening out, and now it's actually, yeah, this yesterday. This was flattening out, so that's why it looks like it was gonna go to the 20-day. But as this went down, now, maybe that's on purpose. Like to have it down here, have it would have the 20-day moving average look like that. So if you were to forward look at this candle right here, it was flattening. But if you were to forward look and have this here, it would be somewhat decent, I guess. Yeah, you can't really say that. It's really just Tesla and the financial. But the fact that they didn't bounce at all today was really disappointing. On there was no bounce at all, and that's how you get hurt. Expecting a bounce at any time. And Apple is just, yes, just continue lower low, lower high without much of a bounce. Although these are somewhat decent run up that gives you really false confidence that it I mean, it's funny how Apple behaves different than Amazon in a sense where Apple has some sort of a little bit of a run up, but Amazon was just flat. If you look at Amazon, it's just flat. There's not much of a run up on any of these levels, and then it just went down. So really disappointing day, a very disappointing day. I don't know what to say. I don't know if I can play tomorrow, and I don't even know if I want to play tomorrow because I definitely won't be selling any options. Um, and yeah, probably if I do anything, it's gonna be I gotta determine tomorrow and probably think it through. But there's no point in trying to outsmart the market. At this point, the market will do whatever it wants. Anything you do is just guessing. So no point in even trying to predict without further data point. So maybe I should just wait out this week and see for further data point, or I can look for any hot stocks. Maybe that's the best case tomorrow. Look for hot stocks. Something or maybe well, it's gonna be hard to be buying hot stocks when everyone look at snow. I mean, this thing was up, then it's all the way down. So look at that. I mean, this actually looks pretty enticing for a bounce at some point. Snowflake. I mean, wow, it's down here now. It's below, and maybe any additional. Maybe if I'll get lucky of a crash tomorrow. I can get this in my 401k. Otherwise, yeah, they really sold it off. Interesting. Big C, big commerce actually. So yeah, still a sell-off, but it's showing strength. So this is another one that looks pretty strong. Big commerce. And Zoom is still amazingly strong. Unbelievable. I mean, what is going on? This thing will not give up. I mean, I guess now Zoom is the golden child, but how can you play it? I mean, do you just keep saying it's gonna go up and up? I mean, I don't see how people play this. I mean, it's just there is no technical rhyme or reason for what it does. It just runs up, and I guess it just, I mean, you can say it's no longer in a channel, So if you say, well, it's no longer in the channel, and this looks like it's kind of a different signal than this, but is this a capitulation top candle? I mean, it can. I guess if tomorrow it ends up here, then you can say it's a capitulation top candle, but right now you really can't. But yeah, I think Zoom at this point, if it fails if it doesn't get a higher high tomorrow, um, let's just say it tries to go up tomorrow but then fail. Well, at this point, you can say, well, it can try to get here or it'll fail. And what is the more likely scenario? I would say this is the more likely scenario. But I mean, this can also be possible, although, geez, it's just so strong of a stock. It's like Tesla at the point where Tesla was so strong that how can you, at any time, how can you say this is the top? Well, you can say this is the top. This is the top. I mean, at any point, how do you know this is the top? Yeah, it's just, I guess you kind of benchmark it because this, well, you can't benchmark. It's not the same. Zoom and Tesla are not the same, but I don't know. It's, yeah. I guess the only thing I can say is that if it starts to downturn, you have at least 4 days of downturn, and maybe that's the way to play. Just look for weakness and then buy some puts and hope those puts will pay off. I mean, this is all because of COVID, and COVID really, I mean, is it gonna get worse and worse? Who knows? But Zoom, um, I mean, that's the only other, yeah, that's nothing else. So I guess I'll end the video there.